faith that holds no kind of stance? Are you a Christian? Are you Jewish? Like, what's
I believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay, do you identify as Jewish or Christian?
I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Saviour.
Okay. Proceed. Like, what makes you think that it's not a clear-cut case? What has somebody like myself missed from this?
Okay, are you aware of the League of Nations mandate for Palestine?
There's a lot of these documents, but educate us.
Are you aware of the Balfour Declaration and then the subsequent mandate for Palestine?
We are, but obviously, make your point, make your argument.
And the year is 2024, not 1924. Yes?
I'm waiting for you to finish. I don't want to cut you or anything. Because then, when you're making a point and then there's these questions, I'll jump in, then it'll become conflated, like, oh bro, you're supposed to let me finish. So I'll give you some time to set the scene, and then we'll proceed from there.
So the issue you're talking about on your channel is the issue of the territory, which is now known as Israel and the occupied territories, which is the official UN language, is that before that it was part of the Ottoman Empire and the whole region was known as Syria-Palestine. And I understand that in any situation people will sometimes become displaced, but that during the towards the end of the Ottoman Empire, the Zionist movement started to purchase land in the land known as Israel and bought the land. And then, after the First World War, which was predominantly a European war, the winning powers created the League of Nations, and so that created the mandate for Palestine. I'm only talking historical facts here, sir. I'm not saying that people haven't suffered. People do suffer. The Germans suffered terribly at the end of the Second World War. You don't hear a lot about that. You also hear that the reason why there was a Second World War because the Germans couldn't accept the Treaty of Versailles. Well, the international community at the time had the mandate for Palestine.
Okay. Do you believe, coming back to the current era, because if we go into history, of course, it's history according to whom, and you know, if we get bogged down in history and there's mass murder taking place, of course there's a discrepancy in terms of the priority. Now, can you agree that what's going on now in Palestine is tragic, it's unfair, it's abhorrent, and Israel needs to pay for its war crimes internationally? Yeah.
Can you please give an example of a war crime committed by the IDF?
A war crime committed by the IDF was the killing of the Jabalia refugee camp, where 100 Palestinians were killed just to search for one Hamas. The international communities obviously said that this is it's a crime, it's wrong. Israel didn't really give any intent, any justification other than, oh, there was one Hamas there, and yeah.
I don't know about that case. How can you
I can give you another case then towards the...
Yes, I'm listening to you. So
so there's a apartment, I think 6-story apartment block that I think it was on October 30th that was bombed, and many people passed away, half of them being children. Again, Israel gave no reason, no justification, and it was just brushed under the carpet.
Can I answer that one?
Yeah, of course.
Right, okay. The BBC has been criticised heavily for being anti-Israel. There's been a report from that. But the BBC itself said of a case where a phone caller from the IDF had identified a tower block as a military target. And there are many cases of Hamas putting their military operations inside schools and hospitals. Now, in a situation of war, and I believe it is a situation of war, if you go firing rockets from a school or a hospital, you make that a military target. Now, if you read the BBC, which people accuse of bias all along, the idea...
Do you accuse them of being biased?
Yes, I think sometimes they are very, very biased against Israel. And the IDF representative spoke in Arabic to the person who managed the building and said, look, we've identified this as a military target, but gave them chance to evacuate. Yeah?
I'm just pulling out the, if we're talking about the same one, but I'm listening.
No, I mean, you can, because the thing is that how can you justify there are practically more tunnels under the territory of Gaza than there are under Manhattan. And Manhattan's got a well-established network of tunnels. And those tunnels were devised to attack Israel. There needs to be peace between the Arabs and the Israelis. There needs to be peace.
Okay, so with regards...
Absolutely there needs to be peace.
So with regards to the 6-story apartment block, there's actually nothing on the record of Israel, according to Human Rights Watch, saying this was the reason why we did it, this was the target that we're looking for. Pertaining the, and that's why it's part of the war crime. If I can just finish the point, because I was listening to you for quite a while. And then when you're talking about the tunnels, whenever there's discussion of tunnels, it's made to seem as if the tunnels were began by Hamas and concocted and made solely by Hamas. And hopefully you're an individual that has some basic knowledge with regards to this. That's completely patently false, because Israel has admitted, I mean, one such interaction was on CNN, which is a famous clip that went round of the reporter being actually caught off guard and saying, oh, so you're saying that you guys made tunnels before? And then he said, yes, we made tunnels before, but Hamas have expanded those tunnels. That was the second point. So this whole notion that, oh, because Hamas has tunnels, okay, it has tunnels, so that excuses the bombing of refugee camps, tent cities, like the Jabalia refugee camp, like Rafah. Does it excuse bombing? Just because Hamas is now hiding amongst the population of children, does that now make it okay? I think any human rights organization on the planet would not excuse and say that it's now okay for you to kill children just to get that Hamas individual. That's blind rage, and that is what constitutes as a war crime. Go ahead.
You have said that is your account. If I am a soldier of Hamas, because they identify themselves as an organisation...
Is it okay if we move there, because that just spoils the decor of the back? If we move...
With the explicit aim of destroying Israel, if I am a soldier, if I were ever called to fight for a cause, and I went into a school or hospital, that would make me a coward, because that would be putting those women and children at risk. And so the wider issue is that Hamas could make peace at any time with Israel. They could release the hostages, not the sausages, and they could make peace. But the thing is, my understanding is that Hamas does not want peace with Israel. Sinwar does not want peace with Israel. There needs to be peace in the Middle East.
Do you think that the Israeli officials are looking for peace and have made that clear to the public and it's on record?
I think Benjamin Netanyahu in his recent speech has made it quite clear that Israel wants peace. And by peace, Israel does not want its borders to be attacked. Israel does not want people going over its borders committing terrorist atrocities. Israel does not want rockets being fired into its territory. If you send a rocket into a territory, you are going to be causing destruction. And the thing is, if I listen to the speech of Benjamin Netanyahu, he is saying he wants peace with the Arab world. He is saying he wants peace in the region. That involves respecting Israel's borders. That involves making peace. And the thing is that there have been too many cases of wars in the Middle East. No one wants women and children killed. Nobody. And the thing is, if you put military installations in schools and hospitals, then there are going to be casualties in schools and hospitals. It's very, very simple.
Okay, so when saying that Israel wants peace, I beg to differ, because one such example of Israel clearly not wanting peace is when there was an option presented in the UNGA December 2022, there was a vote to turn the Middle East into a nuclear-free zone, and only one country was against it. Two guesses who that country was.
It was Israel.
It was Israel. So when you take that into consideration, and post-October the 7th, when you look at what Benjamin Netanyahu said and his genocidal rhetoric by saying all Palestinians are responsible, and then appealing to an Old Testament term called Amalek, and B'Tselem have said that anyone who's gone through the education system in Israel knows when Amalek is referred to, it means every man, woman and child. Anyone who goes through that system. And I've spoken to a number of people here, and they've said, yes, Amalek is appalling language, he shouldn't have used it, this and that, but that is genocidal language from 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 2, which talks about killing babies. Now, when Netanyahu is saying all of Palestine is responsible, Naftali Bennett is saying we are fighting Nazis. Not Hamas is this, not Netanyahu saying no, Hamas is responsible. No, all of Palestinians are responsible. Daniel Hagari, who's the army spokesperson, he said our goal is not precision, rather our goal is destruction. Now, when you have people saying stuff like this, do you think that that's non-genocidal rhetoric?
I do not want to comment on that without going and researching it myself.
On the surface of things.
But on the surface, if you go over a de facto border between the Gaza Strip and Israel, and you go and murder women and children, then unfortunately there are going to be people who are going to suffer when that country defends itself. If you're going to fire, it is not okay in international law to fire rockets at Israel.
That's not what I asked though.
I know it's not what you asked, yeah? What I do not believe that Israel necessarily should be quoting something from Samuel, but I believe that Israel has the right to exist, and that no matter what the plight has been, there needs to be peace within the region. And to answer your question about the nuclear bomb, Israel's policy on the nuclear issue is they've never confirmed or denied. But if I were such a small territory, I would want to have that option if they were ever attacked using that option. And one of the barriers to peace in the Middle East is the autocracy in Iran, where they are pursuing nuclear weapons. Everybody wants a world free of nuclear weapons, but we are all human beings, sir. We are all human beings. If this country did not have a nuclear deterrent, then other countries would seek to attack us with nuclear weapons. So I can say that as it is. I can find you sources that basically Hamas are putting their military operations in hospitals, in schools, and then they are finding those schools and hospitals attacked.
Okay, so there's a number of things that you mentioned. You haven't really answered my points, which is I've given you a number of quotes. What did you say about Amalek? I don't want to misrepresent you. What he said about Amalek.
I have not said anything. I would say.
Is that not genocidal? That was my question.
I would say that any collective punishment is wrong. I would also say that during the Second World War, which was the last time this country was officially at war with another country, there was the bombing of Dresden, there was the Blitz in London, and.
But you've given your stance, which is collective punishment is wrong.
I have not said. I believe that if there was a.
Because it's my turn to speak, I wanted to know your stance before I responded.
I believe that Israel is in an extremely difficult situation.
Is collective punishment wrong?
In most cases, yes.
Then what are the cases in which collective punishment, where you're wiping out, where you intend to wipe everyone out, where that's justified?
I think it would be an extremely rare case.
But not in Palestine. The reason...
Hey, they did better this time with Hezbollah.
You know why?
I'm actually having a conversation here, Amy. I'm having a conversation.
So that's right, but they did better with Hezbollah.
So what?
I just want to say,
they
did better
what
with
I'm saying is that
targeted the terrorists, but are you going to acknowledge
the fact that it's taking so long, I think that it shouldn't take this long. Like, there are women, there are children, there are elderly people, there are Christians.
And there are Hamas fighters who have not surrendered.
And of course there are Hamas fighters as well. So I'll ask you the question again. Is collective punishment okay in Palestine, knowing this?
I think the IDF has to be extremely careful in its operations.
I'm not asking about them, I'm asking you. What do you think?
I think collective punishment is, in 99.9% cases, wrong.
I'm asking about Palestine.
Well, I don't consider that the territory was known as Syria-Palestine before 1922.
I'm not asking
there needs to be a wider question. There needs to be a wider solution in the region.
Look, I've asked you a very simple question.
I mean, the thing is that you're asking me a specific question.
You're
asking me a specific question.
Yes,
I said to you.
You can ask me that question. Ask me that question.
In the World War, there was
I've asked a very simple question. Is collective punishment
is justified?
No.
I'll give you an example.
No, I've asked you. I've given you a specific point.
I will give you an example.
Is collective punishment allowed? Is collective punishment justified in Palestine? That was my question.
Right, okay, I will give you an example.
Beat Israel because you're fighting with God.
I'm having a conversation.
Speaker's corner.
Please, I'm at speaker's corner.
Is she with you?
No, we're separate
We know
people.
each other.
We're separate people. But
I
I've just
have
said to you
promised
that
you that we would have an
That's what I thought, yeah.
crying that Israel cannot be beaten. Stop crying.
Amy,
the Bible says in Psalm 83 that
The Bible says a lot of things.
Israel, it will actually destroy all his enemies.
The Bible also says take the heads of infants and smash them on rocks.
And that's what happened as a prophecy.
Can I have a conversation with my friend here?
He's not your friend. He's a son of Satan.
No,
I want to talk to him in the way that Paul talks.
Thank you.
You can't deny the fact that Israel is beating the asses of Islamic
He doesn't need your help.
I'm talking to you.
But he doesn't need your help.
Stop being an apologist for Islamic terrorism, for Muslim people in the Middle East, a minority who use the Quran for terrorist purposes.
Amy, you just justified smashing the heads of infants on rocks.
I'm not justifying anything.
You literally just justified that.
The Bible says that if you fight with Israel, you will have the wrath of God against you.
Amy,
and this is what's going on with every country that's fighting
Amy, they
with
spit
Israel.
on you in Israel.
I'm not talking about
spit
me.
on Christians.
I'm talking about what the Bible
What's wrong
says.
with you?
If you fight with
Why are you
Israel,
okay with Christians
because
being spat at?
I'm not talking about Christians.
You came over there last time,
I'm talking
and
about
they're saying
Islamic terrorism.
that they are
Islamic
completely separate from you.
When
Islamic terrorism.
Jesus comes back and he will fight. Look at read Zechariah 10, and he will tell you that Israel will fight with the enemies of Israel. Jesus Christ
I'd rather
is
have a
coming back,
conversation.
and he will fight with the Islamic terrorists who fight in the name
I'd rather
of
have a
Allah
conversation with you,
against
but if
the
this
Jewish and
continues,
When
against
she's
all the
finished,
Catholic
I will
people.
well, I don't think she has enough button, to be honest.
Well, you shouldn't come to
You see?
speak. This is a place
No,
of
no,
freedom
I
of
understand.
speech.
It's
You want
speaker's
to
corner.
put your
It is
propaganda
actually-
against Israel.
Amy,
But are you going to
I'm actually asking
are
you,
you
can I
going to
carry on with my
admit? Are you going to
conversation?
admit?
Because
Are
I'm
you
going to give
going
you
to
an
admit?
answer and an
Are you
example
going to
of history
admit the
where it was
fact that
justified.
your
If you
Islamic
can't, if
country
this is-
give you an
cannot
answer,
beat Israel?
yeah, when
Are
she
you
is
going to
finished.
admit that the Quran says
Amy,
to go and fight
could
the
you
enemy,
please
go
let me
and
finish and give
fight
my
the
answer? I'm having
unbelievers?
a-
You can have your conversation. I can say what I want to Speaker's Corner. Are you
Yeah,
going to
this
admit
is-
that
Right,
Hamas
right,
is
then.
Well, nice to
using?
meet you then.
Are you going to
No,
admit
I'd
that
like to finish the
Hamas is
conversation, so I've got an
using?
answer.
I've given you a
the
chance as well,
Quranic
but I
verses
mean-
and
Can I
the
give you- can I
hadith
give you an
to
answer?
fight
Well, not
against
if you can't
Israel?
even get your friend
Are
to
you
be
gonna-
quiet.
Are you
I
going to
think there should-
admit
I
that?
think-
If somebody comes and if Ali starts interrupting
Are you
me,
gonna admit
I can
that?
ask Ali, look, respectfully, I want to finish this
shouldn't come
conversation,
to
and he would
Speaker's
walk off.
Corner.
I'm not. I don't.
She's
You should
heckling.
arrange-
That's what she's
you
doing.
should arrange
Yeah.
your own
I agree
meeting.
with you.
You should
Yeah.
arrange
But
your own
finish the
meeting. You
conversation,
can't
it'll be
take
more-
Well,
the lead
it's
at
very
Speaker's
difficult to
Corner.
finish the conversation
You
when she's
can't
shouting
take
in
the
my
lead.
ear.
I will give
You
you
go
the
and put your
answer.
false
If she's
propaganda
shouting in my ear,
against
I can't think
Israel.
straight.
You can't because you can't.
And I don't think the viewers will be able to
You
pick up
can't
what you're
because
saying.
you wanna
If you want me,
promote-
if you want me to give her a
promote your
time
false
to finish a spiel,
propaganda
30
against
seconds, 40
Israel.
seconds, I can do that. but then afterwards I'd like to speak with you. If you can't control the situation, then
I'm
I'd
going to
go.
leave in 5 minutes, but at the end of the day, we are a speaker's corner. You want to present your propaganda against Israel, but are you going to tweet? Are you going to face the fact that Israel is
Yeah, I'm getting a headache already. Especially when she's justifying smashing infants' heads on rocks.
8 years.
Look at her,
8
look at her.
years
It doesn't
they
stop.
tried to destroy Israel, and Israel won every single war. You cannot answer that. The Bible that you haven't read, that your Quran confirms, tells you that any country that fights with Israel, God will destroy them. Read Psalm 83. Read Psalm 83, it tells you that if you destroy the nation of
Are you
Israel...
so desperate for my attention?
I'm here to rebuke you. You come here because
Okay.
you want to have your own...
Do you want to have a
speech.
debate then?
Do it in camp.
Do you want to have a debate then?
Amy.
Do you want to have a debate then? Do you want to have a debate then?
I'm here to tell you,
So you don't want to have a debate?
you already won, you're packing up. There is no debate. You packed
No, we were
up and
actually
you
having a
left.
conversation, Amy.
We were having
You
a
packed up and you
conversation.
left.
I'm moving now.
Are you gonna
Do you
tweet?
want to have
Are
a
you gonna
debate?
You already packed up. You lost the debate.
Amy,
You
do
cannot
you want to
defend.
have a
You
debate
cannot.
or not? It's a
You
very
already
simple
packed
question. It doesn't matter. We can unpack.
You already, as far
Do
as
you
I'm
want to
concerned,
have a
you already
debate?
packed up. We're done. You already packed up.
So you don't have a debate?
You packed up. You already lost
There you
the
go.
debate.
So she
You
doesn't
already
even
lost
want to
the
have a debate then.
You already
You
lost
came-
the debate.
I actually...
Yeah, and then we had a nice setup.
I can't speak for her. I cannot speak for her.
No, I'm now saying
You're
that, look,
here to
I'm
promote
engaging with her and saying, do you want to have a debate?
Are you here?
I've asked her using 3 different sentence structures, and she's hell-bent on saying you've packed up.
Okay, answer
You
my
come and you
question.
talk about
Are
Islam.
You happier about the way
Did you
Israel
want to
dealt
have
with
a debate?
Hezbollah? Answer my question.
Did you want to have a
Are you
debate?
here? I don't have to arrange anything with you.
Okay,
Are you
well,
here?
that's the...
Are you
Can't have a
happy
debate,
with
that's the thing.
How Israel dealt with
I don't
Hezbollah?
think you're...